to tell you, and this is according to multiple sources and our team of reporters covering federal law enforcement, Tom Winter, Mike Costner, our colleagues. Tyler Robinson is the suspect in custody. He is from Utah. He's in custody and with state authorities in Utah, born in 2003. And so Tyler Robinson is the name that, according to multiple sources, is the suspect who is in custody. From our reporting, we understand he has been in custody for a number of hours now. And what happens with that, as Morgan was just saying, there was a point where authorities knew very little about who this person was. Well, once you have an individual identified, many new doors open. Tyler Robinson will now be subject to having all of his electronics reviewed, subject to a search warrant. And that would be the typical process now, that once he's identified and in custody, authorities are able to get the court permission to execute search warrants. That could be places where he lives, seizing any phones, digital footprint, any of those things. Also checking the records for the purchase of the weapon that was used here. Can they tie that weapon to him? All of those avenues are now open to federal authorities. This is a state crime, not a federal crime on its face, meaning a murder is a state crime. They would be looking for any avenues that allow them to find some kind of federal charge, if there is one that's applicable and appropriate, to add to this case with the joint work of federal authorities and state authorities. Tyler Robinson is the suspect, according to our sources.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
We are coming on the air with breaking news this morning. President Trump announcing on Fox News, on the show Fox and Friends, that a suspect is now in custody. The shooter, believed to be the shooter in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We have NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky on the ground in Utah. He is there on site. Morgan, thank you very much for being with us. President Trump saying about this person of interest. What exactly do we know so far? Why are officials confident they have the right person?
That is a question we hope to ask here in a press conference, Savannah, in about 45 minutes in this very building behind me. And we know that FBI Director Kash Patel will be in attendance. It was just hours ago, late last night, that authorities released new video that certainly contributed to bringing this person into custody. And in the president's interview, he said some things that were very telling that we're going to be hopefully following up on to gain some clarity, saying that someone close to this person of interest recognized them either from the images or the video that had been released, and then reached out to the father of that individual, who then in turn, according to the president now, convinced this person to join them, and they went to a U.S. Marshal. Now, that is how, if I'm hearing the president correctly, he's laying kind of the timeline of events here. And that would certainly be a best case scenario in that there was no resistance, especially, from an armed standpoint, with this person being brought into custody. Authorities have been very tight-lipped, either from keeping their cards close to the vest or simply because they didn't know very much about this person other than the images and the video that they shared. In this press conference, where we hope to learn more, we do know that state investigators will also be there. They've been working hand in hand with federal investigators since this shooting took place. In fact, I've been told that more than 100 law enforcement personnel have been kind of scouring the scene and the area and have been on the case to try to track down this person. But the governor making it very clear last night that the public was vital here. They needed the public's help, and it led them to conducting more than 200 interviews and fielding thousands of tips. And certainly all of those combined have led to, this person now being brought into custody. The president saying that he believes with a high degree of certainty that this individual is the person who fired that fatal shot, killing Charlie Kirk.
Good morning. This is Morning Sky. I'm your host, Sky. Boy, oh boy, new developments. I was just going to talk about the Annapolis case, but I think this brings us to a newer level of speech and talking about the alleged killer, the suspect, in the Charlie Kirk assassination. Now, I'm going to continue on with some more videos, but I just wanted to say how, this is just so heinous and so ugly that it just bears repeating that I disagreed with most of what Charlie Kirk had to say, but his life was more important than his words. And they were actually, I don't even know if they were conjoined. They were integrated. His life and his words were together. And, you have to have your physical self to be able to convey messages. You have to have the ability to write and speak. Holly's going in. Salute to you. Salute to Texas Carnage, my favorite Christian spick. And salute to Holly. Good morning. How you doing? How do they not correlate? They're integrated. Your body and soul, your mind and your physical self. They're integrated. They should be integrated. Some people aren't integrated by mind and body, and so, in their soul and their physical state. But Charlie. See, he had wrong ideas. A lot of them were very bad ideas, but that does not give clearance for anyone to do this. So let's just go on to, you saw the clip. It's Tyler Robinson identified. We have the person. I don't know if he's I think he's in custody right now. He's awaiting to go to a judge, I think, or something like that. I'm not sure. Those are alleged. I'm not sure. It's all alleged. Here's another video. Let me see if I can put this up.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th.
I'm going to put this in the feed. Holly, you don't have to go. Texas, you will be the first person I blocked because Holly is good people. Holly is really good people. So I will block you. I will do that. Because you could be the first person I block, not for their age. So I don't need you, Texas Carnage. So there, Holly, you're fine now. I blocked him. He was salty. He got his panties in a twist. He was mad. But we're going to continue. I don't know. Texas has his ways. He's supposed to be a Christian, lover of Christ. He doesn't abide by Christ's rules. Salute to Rick James. Rick James says, ladies and gentlemen, have a turbulent show yesterday that features the most unfortunate live reactions by both Scholar Saunders Seas and the audience. He's back again to allow abusers in the chat. Well, I got rid of the abuser, Texas Carnage 817. He may come back though. That's the only reason I don't block people, because they obviously make another profile, they put in another picture, come in under another identity, and just go on from there. So, but I slowed him down. I'm gonna slow him down. That was the first time I ever blocked somebody, because nobody's gonna disrespect Holly. I don't give a goddamn who you are. You're not going to disrespect Holly. This is supposed to be a safe space for her. I'm only doing this out of courtesy because we actually know each other. We knew each other. We're going back over a decade. So that's the reason. Well, it's just she's saying, "Oh, thank you, Skylar," but that's just the truth. That's just reality. That's just the facts. All right, let's go further into this. Rich James says, "Salute to Holly." Yeah. All right, here we go.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there's been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well.
Okay, so this all boils down to law enforcement. This is law enforcement. This is the job of police. This is the defund the police. Yes, we have to defund the police. The people that protect us, the people that make sure that these criminals are brought to justice. Oh, we have to defund them. We have to defund the police. And this is another example for illegals. I mean, Holly and I think we go, we argue back and forth, and but it's never malicious. It's just that we have a disagreement. I just see illegals coming into this country and saying, hey, they want to shoot up, schools. They want to have gangs roving some of the streets, not in full force, but there are some. There's people that are taking out political leaders, well, not political leaders, but political activists. Hey, I want to come here still. I want to make the best of my life because I know that that's not America. Despite all the carnage and the ugliness, I use carnage, right? But despite all the ugliness and disgustingness, That's not America. America is ideas. America is reason, individualism, and capitalism. Those are the three cornerstone ideals of America. It's the RIC in America. RIC, reason, individualism, capitalism. Simple fix, don't let the legal. Well, that's what I'm arguing. I'm allowing the legals to come in. All illegals, every illegal that's doesn't have a crime history, isn't a terrorist, isn't a known criminal, doesn't carry an infectious disease. They can all come join the party. You see what happens. We're indigenous. From what I know, I think Holly's indigenous. I think Richard James is indigenous. See, she says, well, you know where I'm coming from. I'm bipolar disorder. She's like, that's nutty. She's trying to be nice. That's Holly. That's Holly's style. She's calling me nutty. One thing you must realize is that the carnage in America is nothing compared to Mexico, El Salvador, Iran. Truth. That's the truth. That is the truth, Rick James. A billionaire in Iran is nothing compared to somebody that makes $20,000 a year in America, $20,000 in America. And we don't want it to be that. That's terrifying. Okay. We just disagree. I think that illegal workers, people, and people that are prepared to work, people that are going to school and trying to learn a trade or learn how to be a biochemist or a nuclear biologist, or is there such thing as a nuclear physicist? There may be a nuclear biologist, but I know there's definitely a nuclear physicist. Whatever they want to do with their lives, I think that's beautiful. I think that's wonderful. Anybody that wants to come to these shores, put in work, know that we have all our problems, know that there's constant infighting right against left, and they are on the same, different sides of the same coin. Rick James says, America hold the prestige, and the sooner everyone realizes that, sooner we will get peace in this country. Fact. We hit the jackpot by living here. I know. It's the weirdest thing. It's like we hit the womb lottery. We hit the womb lottery. Were you born, Holly? Were you born in Rhode Island? Or were you just raised in Rhode Island? And Rick James, were you born in... I don't even know where the hell you were born. Well, not with dopes like Rashida Tlaib. And yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I said yesterday. And the third wheel, yes, Providence. Okay. So Rashida Tlaib, was it Ilhan Omar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? They're all evil. They're the essence of evil, along with Bernie Sanders. Like, they're evil. Like, just like on the right, there's I'm forgetting his name right now. I'm thinking of it. Oh my God, Holly. Not Holly, but Hawley. I can't remember his first name or his position, but Hawley. He is one of the most vicious, ugly, disgusting people in politics right now. But they're both, like I said, he and Bernie are just basically the same. Thanks, Hawley. But what's his first name? I mean, I could look it up real quick, but I just wanted to know. Josh Hawley. Yes, thank you. Josh Hawley is a despicable human being. Does that mean that he should have a bullet lodged in his throat, into his lung, or into his neck? No, not at all. Yes, he speaks very well. He does speak very well. Jesus King Carter said you banned him. Yes, I did ban him. He was my first person I banned because he was coming at Holly. You can come at me all day. I can take it. I'm a Marine and a man. Holly is not a Marine, nor is she a man, but she's strong like one. She's built to be a man in character. But he was coming at Holly, and she was about to leave the room. I'm like, no. Holly can stay in this room. You're gonna be the first person Okay, Jesus is King. You're going a little crazy now. I don't know. Do I have to ban you? I don't know. Where you going, Jesus King? He disrespected Holly. I don't know where you're going, Jesus King. You can be the second person I block, or the third person in total. But the first person I blocked based off of content. Like I said, you can come at me. We go all day long. We can go all day long. I said he came at her, not came on her. He was coming for her. I thought Greg was the first fact. No, Greg Ass wasn't the one that I blocked. I never blocked Greg Ass. I never blocked anyone until today. She said, ew. He also said Richard lied on him. Well, I don't know what the lie was. He has to explain that. Rot was first. Rot was first. You were banned, Rot? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Rot was first what? I'm going to go to another video. Let me see if they got even more information. I did not see that. Hold on. In the live chat, they're saying Richard risked death on him. I would have cleaned that up. I didn't see that. I would have said to Rick James, I was disagreeing with a lot of Rick James was saying yesterday. No one is lying. Go see the chat. Wow. I know Carnage personally. He wouldn't do that. Well, he got antsy in his panties. He got his panties in a twist. I don't know. Today was, he took it to another level. Maybe it's because I called him a spick. I don't know. He got a little aggy after that. He did yesterday, sir, after you left. Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't realize that. Richard leaked y'all's explicit text message exchange. Okay. Jesus King is Carnage fact. Maybe. He's doing a good job of covering it up. He just got the Jesus part. Yeah, but he was calling your mom a whore. And me, exactly. He was going after people that I respect and trust. Like I said, come at my dumb ass. This is my show. I have the power. I get views. I get more people to come to my channel. I get more subscribers. Nobody else is getting the subscribers that I'm getting. They are the ones that just are welcome into this position, into this arena, and you're not going to disrespect the lady of the house. You're not going to do that. You can disrespect me all day. I'm a big boy. I can take it. I've been called much worse. If you've never been looked down upon by a United States Marine Corps drill instructor, you really can't say much to me. You can't. There's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can't say anything to come even close to the abuse I received as a recruit in the United States Marine Corps Recruit Depot and Paris Island. So that try it if you must, but you're gonna lose. All right, so let's go to this video. It's kind of, let me try to speed it up. It's taking a little while.
Mic check 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 good with that? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 everybody good? Keep going. 1 2 3
okay, now
4,
they're doing
5,
mic
6,
checks.
7
I don't
8
know what the
9
hell.
10 1 2 3 4
White House, who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilized these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington.
Okay, he's talking a good game. He's talking about the timeline of events. He's doing a good job, but I just think it's just like a little bit too, explanatory. It's very, he's just going bit by bit, moment by moment when occurred. But this is the whole point of FBI. Well, CIA at one point, I don't know. The FBI seems a little bit stronger, but they kind of weakened. But they're not as weak as the CIA. I think the CIA is kind of diminished over the years. But the police, most police departments are fully intact and ready to neutralize situations and to make the peace again. That is key in situations like this because it was such a violent and forceful act that has to be described as this gentleman is describing. I think that with these kinds of occurrences, we have to delve into the reality that the shooter must be respected. You don't like the shooter, you don't love the shooter, you don't cling on to the shooter, you don't praise the shooter, but you respect the shooter. Respect the shooter because that is the reason why people have fallen. Everyone from JFK to MLK, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, John Lennon. The list goes on and on and on. And I said, previously, the assassination attempts on Gerald Ford's life, on the former president Gerald Ford's life, on former President Ronald Reagan's life. I mean, you have to respect the shooter, because they're going to fire. They're going to fire. You have to put in some kind of mechanism where the people can be shielded. You can't prevent these things. It's not like was Jimmy Carter was there assassination attempt against Jimmy Carter? I don't know. Rick James is saying there was. I'm not sure, but what I'm saying is, they have to be shielded, because it's not like Minority Report. If anybody's ever seen the movie Minority Report, it deals with these special people that can predict crimes and when they're going to happen. I mean, that's not the role of the police. The police is not to prevent crime; it's to neutralize the situation. That's their whole goal, is to protect and guard against future threats, guard against all these things. That's all they can do, is guard. All they can do is shield. Rottweiler says, I have no respect for this new generation of people. Well, that's a broad swipe. That's a very, very broad paintbrush. You can't really say every human being in this generation. In what generation? Are you talking about Generation Z or Generation Alpha? The millennials? What generation are you talking about? Rottweiler. How are you still here? I reported. I reported sounds like it was what's his name? Carnage 81, Texas Carnage 817. The college ages kids. Okay, so they're probably Gen Z. Most of them are Gen Z. Okay, you're still here. Salute, Holly. I was just checking. All right, good to go. Because you're about to bounce for a little bit. I was like, oh no, hell no. She's not gonna get out of this live. No. Come at me. Come at me, bro. If you're gonna use the bro, come at me, bro. Like, come at me all the way. I don't care. I can take it. I'm a big boy. But when you start disrespecting people like the females, and a very close associate of mine, I don't know if she would call me her friend, but she's definitely a very spirited and very wise and very professional young lady, and I will not have her name besmirched, even in the comic section, which nobody will see. Nobody's going to see whatever your type. Only the people that are going to see this are people watching this right now. That's it. Holly says, I have... Okay, we are friends. Okay, good. I don't want to set my boundaries. I have the day off today. I don't teach my class at the Y until 5. I don't need to be called a whore. No, you don't. That's what I don't need to sit and listen to. Exactly. We are friends, Scholar. Good to go. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Not on my page. Not on my channel. It's not going to happen. But when they come attacking Rick James, it's all kisses and flowers, huh? No, it's not all kisses and flowers, but you're a man. You should be able to take it as well. And I was judicious. I was like, okay, Carnage, you're wrong. You got to stop talking about. And I was like, Rick, you're going a little left. You're going to off the wrong side. I corrected both of you yesterday. I mean, there's no proof of it. There's no evidence, but I'm just saying based on my word. But I appreciate you too, Rick James. But I'm not going to block somebody because of you. I will block somebody because of Holly. That's a fact. But what is going on? What is this? This is the power and the might of the FBI. Probably at their strongest, they get their man. There's a joke about J. Edgar Hoover, I think he was one of the founders, if not the founder of the FBI. They say he always found his man, but never could find a woman or something like that. That was crazy. But I have to actually leave pretty early. I can't go on 2 hours. I have a meeting. I have an online meeting in a few moments, and so there are lots of jokes about him. Ayo. Zachary is Mossad. What is this Zachary? I don't understand how Zachary keeps coming up. And what are you talking about, Holly? What are you saying? There are lots of jokes about him. Jokes about whom? Meeting. Yeah, meeting. It's a meeting from the Ayn Rand Institute. The president and CEO, Tal Safani. He's gonna be talking about happiness. Oh, Jagger, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of jokes about him wearing high heels and dresses and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. A lot of stuff going on about Jagger Hoover. But I think the FBI, to my knowledge, I could be completely wrong. You can call me an idiot, call me stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. But I think the FBI is pretty robust, and when it comes to marking their suspects and to try to bring them to justice. So with just 20 minutes left under 20 minutes left in the period, I'm gonna try to do a cultural issue.
You decide you changed your mind and you want to resolve this case, both cases, by way of a jury trial. That's not going to happen. If you want to have a trial, the trial starts tomorrow. If you want to accept the deal, you can accept the deal today. But there's not going to be any buyer remorse, in other words.
A shocking update in the double murder case against rapper YNW Melly. Not only was his murder trial pushed to 2027, but his alleged accomplice struck a deal with prosecutors.
The maximum penalty is 15 years in Florida State. So, sir, again, before the agreement you made with the state, before the deal you made with the state, your maximum exposure here was life in Florida State Prison, followed by 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 75 years in Florida State Prison.
We're breaking down what strings come attached to the deal and what it could mean for Melly's future retrial.
Mr. Henry, I'm not quite sure how your lawyers managed to do this, but I wish you good luck, sir.
Thanks for joining us on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner. Cortland Henry was accused of helping YNW Melly cover up the murders of their friends. However, in a deal with the state, Cortland, or YNW Bortland, had his murder charges dropped, meaning no more life in prison. But will he testify against Melly, who prosecutors allege pulled the trigger?
He's standing next to me in that area, and I won't quite have him sit down because he's just so, all over the place.
Did he ultimately identify himself to you?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the name that he provided?
I believe it's Cortland Henry.
That was Officer Jessica Amingor with the Miramar Police Department, describing what she saw the night Cortland Henry rushed Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr. to a local hospital after they had been shot.
And you mentioned that there were some individuals inside. How many people occupied the vehicle at the time when you saw it?
One gentleman in the front passenger seat and one in the rear right passenger seat.
And when you approached the vehicle, was it apparent their condition?
Yes, they weren't moving.
Okay. How so were you able to, I guess, determine whether or not they were injured?
So immediately looking on the vehicle and, just the fact that there was multiple bullet holes inside, they weren't moving. If somebody was able for me to help them, they'd be in obvious pain, screaming, moaning, and there's nothing.
Did you attempt to render aid?
Yes. So I immediately, after waiting in for assistance and letting the security guard know, hey, I need doctors and nurses and everything to come out to help me, put on gloves and reached inside the front passenger seat and checked the pulse.
Notice she's got a broken wing. She's got a busted arm. I don't know how she did that, but it could be the on the job or off the job. She's apparent police officer. I don't know. That seems weird. She might have banged her arm or in her wrist on something. I don't know, but she's got a messed up wing.
So the right wrist, I didn't find anything.
And did he tell you where the circumstances surrounding how he ended up at the hospital?
So he advised he just left the studio with his friends in Fort Lauderdale, and that he wasn't familiar with the area, but he had just gotten off a highway because they're staying at a home somewhere near the hospital. After he got off the highway, he stopped at a light, and then the car he couldn't tell me exactly what kind of car it was, just started shooting at his vehicle. So he multiple times reenacting a story. He's going like this because he's saying that he had to duck down in the driver's seat. He was driving to avoid being hit.
And again, along those lines, you said that it was immediately apparent as to the other victims inside the vehicle. Were you able to observe any injuries to Cortland Henry?
No.
Were you able to observe any blood?
No. I actually told him several times that he was lucky because for that many bullet holes, I was surprised he didn't get hit.
So that officer testified during YNW Melly's first trial, and we all know how that turned out.
The jury inquiry form, it indicates that after further discussions, reviewing the evidence, and speaking freely amongst the jurors, we are still unable to reach a unanimous decision. So at this time, what I'm going to do is just declare this trial as mistrial.
Now, years after that mistrial was declared, the very alleged accomplice accused of helping Melly cover up a double murder struck a deal with prosecutors. Now, before we get into that, let's start with how we got here. Now, back in October of 2018, some members of the YNW collective were at a late night studio session recording music. That included Jamel Dimmons, aka YNW Melly, Anthony Williams, aka YNW Sack Chaser, Christopher Thomas Jr., aka YNW Juvie, and Cortland Henry, aka YNW Bortland. Investigators allege that during that ride home, Melly shot and killed his childhood friends Sack Chaser and Juvie, and Cortland Henry, aka YNW Bortland, helped cover it up. Melly and Bortland denied that, and Melly's defense team during his first trial even denied that he was in the car that night, even when the bullets flew. Despite surveillance videos showing them enter the car, Melly's defense claims at some point during the ride home he hopped out, and that Juvie, Sack Chaser, and Bortland were victims of a drive-by, which is why during Officer Amingor's testimony, you don't hear her talk about Melly much. Now stay with me. Melly and Bortland were both charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder plus more charges. And as I've mentioned before, Melly went to trial and that ended in a mistrial. Now, Bortland was supposed to go on trial this week, but that didn't happen because in a shocking move, he accepted a plea deal from prosecutors. In exchange, they'll drop the double murder charges against him.
So I had set this afternoon for the deadline as to whether or not Mr. Henry wanted to accept the state's offer or not. We were set to go with jury selection tomorrow morning. So Mr. Haddad or Mr. Nascimento, we're going forward with a change of plea this afternoon? And state, is it the same terms that you discussed previously? Is there anything different?
No, Your Honor, that has changed. It's correctly reflected on the plea forms.
So the pre-forms to me look like on the 19th case as to the 2 counts of accessory after the fact, as well as to all 4 counts in the 23 case. These are going to be adjudications, 10 years Florida State Prison, followed by, that's a 6 years probation.
That's correct.
6 years probation. All counts are run concurrently, all sentences run concurrently with one another. And it looks like there's no restitution in the 23 case, in the 19 case.
Is he wearing Jordans with shoelaces? Anybody catch that? He's wearing Jordans. He's wearing the 13s, I think. The 13 Jordans, the red and whites. Anybody catch that? He's got a jumpsuit on. He's got, security by him. You can't wear. What? How's he even wearing Jordans? I thought you're supposed to just be wearing shower shoes or, those slip-ons. I'm confused now. I don't get it. Somebody explain that to me. Please explain that to me. I lost it. I lost the fact where you wear, shower shoes or the slip-on shoes and when you're confined in a prison or even in a mental facility, they give you the slip-ons or the socks with the rubber at the bottom for grip. He's got on Jordans, clean, fresh, new, look like white and red, brand new Jordans. I just noticed little things like that. I'm stupid like that.
I'm reserving restitution and ordering it payable. That's going to be to Terry Bagley as well as Ashley Phillips.
Yes, sir.
We've
spoken to them and they don't anticipate there being any restitution. Just request caution.
Okay. So I'll give you 120 days to tell me the amount.
Yes, sure. They are present as well, too. So our victim advocate has informed them of that.
Okay.
Let us know. Okay. As of today, they said.
Right there. Okay, look. I can't make a pointer, but if I can make a pointer, those are red and white Jordans. This is I'm just how do, and they look like they're laced. You don't wear laces when you're in prison or a mental facility. I know about the mental facility. I've never been to prison, but I know about the mental facility. You don't wear belts and you don't wear shoelaces. So why isn't his tongue sticking out from his shoes? That's weird. I'm totally confused now. Now I the world is at a weird location to me right now. I'm totally confused. And who takes care of his hair? Does he do self-care? Does he have somebody to come in to do his locks? That ain't stupid. That's paying attention to detail. Well, I appreciate that, King. Salute to you, sir. I just pay attention to small details, and then because it has a wider implication, not just because he's wearing Jordans and everything. Does he have a different clearance? Does he have a different level of being that he's placed at that other inmates aren't? Because he's wearing the jumpsuit, he's wearing the goddamn what do they call it? Cuffs, handcuffs, chained. He's got 2 security guards right next to him, just in case something pops off, I guess. Yeah, special privileges. He has the money. I'm sure his books are full. His commissary is full. He's got the ramen noodles and the Oreos and the Bisco and the Chips Ahoy chips and the chocolate chip cookies. And he's got he's got the he's probably got he may have Tang. I don't know. He may have the Huggies, the quarter waters, or whatever that case might be in jail. I don't know, but those it's not a distraction, but I just noticed it. But the years that they were trying to give out to him, he said a first life sentence, then a second life sentence. I think he said a third life sentence, and then he said 75 years on top of that. But this is what confuses me as well about this justice system. The Menendez brothers, it was said that they would be pretty much in prison for the rest of their lives without possibility of parole. Then a few years later, they have possibility of parole. What? Let's get back to this. I strayed too far.
All right, and state, is that the complete term? That's it?
He's also going to be giving it to Crawford, Your Honor, at a later time.
Well, is that part of the negotiated resolution?
It is.
So that's a lot of legal jargon, right? But let's break it down. Cortland Henry accepted a deal to plead no contest to being an accessory after the fact, meaning he really didn't plead guilty, but the judge adjudicated him or declared him guilty on that accessory charge. So Cortland will still have to be serving a prison sentence, but he was sentenced to 10 years followed by 6 years of probation with credit for time served, which honestly, compared to a life sentence, maybe that helped him come to that decision. But let's take a look at how that conversation went.
Mr. Henry, I'm going to put you under oath, and I'm going to ask you some questions. If I ask you something you don't understand, please let me know. I'll try to ask you a better question, okay? As loud as you can so the court can get down all the answers.
I like what King says. King has a great observation. He says their lawyers, the Menendez brothers' lawyers, were probably fighting over the years. But even with a fight, I thought that was like, written in stone. I thought that was like no parole. But I'm obviously wrong. I'm obviously wrong on that front. I'm still trying to figure out the legal system. I'm so confused about certain aspects of it. It's very sketchy. It's very weird. Some people get football number years. Some people get a few months. Some people, similar crimes. Some people walk. Some people skate.
Okay, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? You can put your hand down. Please state your full name. How old are you? How far did you go in school? Do you read and understand the English language? Are you presently under the influence of any drugs, medication, or alcohol? Have you ever been treated for a mental illness? Are they giving you any medication in the jail right now? How are you feeling this afternoon? Your head is clear? You understand what's going on this afternoon? You understand you're resolving 2 pending felony cases.
Okay, he's tapping his foot, and I'm seeing the tongue come up. If they were laced, if they were laced, that tongue would not come up like that. So okay, special privileges to get the Jordans. He's got a fresh pair of Jordans. Like they show, there's some pictures of people, in blue jeans and t-shirts and stuff like that. And they have the radio, they have the plastic clear transparent radio. They got the TV that's transparent. They're living it up in prisons in a lot of places across the country and across the world. I'm trying, Holly. I'm trying. King says it probably was a loophole or an unconstitutional prosecutorial portion of the trial. Good point. I'm dumb. You say this is the thing. This is like I'm an empty vessel and then I pour it out. I can pour it out, but mainly I'm taking it in. I take it in from you guys. You guys are actually on the right page. I don't know what Texas was on today. I think it's because I called him a spick. I think that's the reason why. I could be wrong, but I think he got really aggy. He got really agitated after that. He can throw around. I'm sure he throws around the nigger all the time. I'm sure he says that profusely. But when he gets called a spick, oh my god, oh. Now I got to call someone I have no clue who she is out of her name, and say that. But I'm going backwards. Let me keep going forward because I can stand on day on that.
Mr. Haddad or Mr. Nascimento, have you seen or heard Mr. Henry say or do anything which would call into question in your mind whether he understands what's going on?
Nothing at all. No.
All right, so Mr. Henry, it's 2 cases, sir. I'm going to go one at a time. In case number 19-1871 CF10A, this is before the agreement you made with the state, before the deal you made with the state. You were charged as follows. Counts 1 and 2 is murder in the first degree with a firearm. Those are capital offenses. The maximum and mandatory penalty is life in Florida State prisons. Counts 3 and 4 are accessory after the fact to murder in the first degree. Those are each first degree felonies. The maximum penalty is 30 years in Florida State prison. In case number 23-10643 CF10A, you're charged in count 1, tampering with a witness in a capital felony. That is punishable by life in Florida State prison. Count 2, directing the activities of criminal gang. That's a first degree felony. Again, punishable up to life in Florida State prison. Count 5 is conspiracy to commit tampering. Again, as it relates to a first degree murder charge, that is punishable by a maximum penalty of life in Florida State prison. And count 7, unlawful use of a two-way communication device as charged. That's a second degree felony. The maximum penalty is 15 years in Florida State prison. So, sir, again, before the agreement you made with the state, before the deal you made with the state, your maximum exposure here was life in Florida State prison, followed by 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 75 years in Florida State prison. Sir, do you understand all the pending charges and the maximum possible penalties involved? And it's my understanding that you want to resolve both cases today. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that resolution is an agreement you've reached with the state, the terms of which are as follows. Number 1, in the 19 case, you're going to plead no contest to both counts of accessory after the fact. In the 23 case, you're going to plead no contest to all 4 counts as charged. In exchange for that, the state is going to null process, that is, drop the 2 first degree murder cases. All right, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty. Yes, sir.
He's not pleading guilty to count 2. Your case.
What's happening with that?
That would be no problem.
So he's only going to plead to the tampering with a witness in a capital felony, conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device?
Just the tampering and the unlawful use.
Just count 1 and count 7.
Correct.
State, you're going to null process count 2 and count 5.
Correct.
As it relates only to Mr. Henry.
Correct.
Okay. So, Mr. Henry, what it's going to be is 2 counts of accessory after the fact, tampering with a witness in a capital felony, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. In exchange for that, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty on the two accessory counts as well as the tampering count. I'm going to sentence you to 10 years in Florida State Prison. That will be followed by 6 years of reporting probation. In the unlawful use of a two-way communication device, that's a second-degree felony. The maximum exposure. It's the second as charged, I believe. It's a third, except as it relates to a capital case. But I'm happy to look it up. Well, what did you want the negotiated sentence to be for that?
That was just going to be the maximum time, sir.
5 years? Is that what you're going to do?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so, sir, as to that count, it's going to be adjudication in 5 years in Florida State Prison. So the two accessory counts as well as the tampering count, those come with 6 years of reporting probation after the Department of Corrections sentence. I'll give you credit for all the time that you've served in both cases. All of those counts will run concurrently. All those sentences will run concurrently. All counts in all cases, that is at the same time with each other. I'm going to have to impose mandatory court costs. I'm going to order restitution payable to Terry Bagley and payable to Ashley Phillips and reservists to the amount. I'm going to give the state 120 days to tell me the amount of that restitution. If they fail to do so within 120 days, there will be no restitution. If they come back with an amount and the attorneys agree on the amount, I will impose that as another condition of your sentence to pay back that restitution. If they come back with an amount and the attorneys do not agree on the amount, I will conduct a restitution hearing. Sir, lastly, and I want to make it very clear on the record, and it's unrelated to this negotiated change of plea, I guess at some point after the fact, the state wants to take a proffer from you or have a discussion with you, ask you some questions about whatever that may be. What I want you to understand, sir, is I guess that's part of this negotiated resolution, but your answers to any of those questions, whatever they might be, have no bearing on me and have no bearing on this negotiated resolution. In other words, the deal you've negotiated is the deal you've negotiated, and that's the ballgame. Do you understand all that, sir? Have you?
I don't know. This is just a microcosm. This is just a microcosm of the criminal justice system of young men of color. He's only 26 years old. 26 years old. Charlie Kirk was 31 and he's dead. He was murdered. This young man allegedly murdered his best friend, or was involved in the murder of his best friend. And that is just egregious, that is ugly, that is disturbing. That is sad. This is another reason why I say illegals come into this country. The percentage of illegals who commit crimes is so low, it's negligible. It's negligible. There's very little criminal activity on the side of illegal aliens or people that come to immigrate to this country to seek better lives. And then you have people that throw away their lives, like this gentleman. You heard it. How many licenses did he receive? What was it, like 4 or 5, and then 75 on top of that? Are they really wired to commit crimes? Black men, young men of color? Are they natural born killers? Or is the white man the natural born killer? He created the Manhattan Project, Oppenheimer, to kill tens of thousands of people. That's just a huge bomb, exploding over 2 cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 80 years ago this year. What is the difference? How much carnage, using the word carnage again, but how much bloodshed can actually happen? How much can it occur throughout the history, and how much of it was caused by the Caucasian? How much was it caused by the black male and the black woman? I want to know these things. But at the onset of this, I just wanted to say illegal aliens come in, join the party. We've got rappers killing other people, killing their best friends allegedly. This is all a swirling ball of mess, that continues to grow faster and faster and faster, despite the fact that we have measures to say that this is completely wrong. But you know what it is? It's emotion. All of this is emotional. Charlie Kirk's death, emotional. YNW Melly case, emotional. All emotions running high. No thought, no rationality, no morality, no character, just raw feelings, just raw emotion. That's what happens. Your brain shuts down in a sense, and the chemicals that feed into to emotion, to feelings, they kick in. I'm gonna continue.
You had enough time to talk to your lawyers about all that? They've answered all your questions? You're sure that that's what you want to do? Because I want to emphasize, Mr. Henry, and I'm going to do this again at the end of my plea colloquy. Whether you resolve the case by way of a negotiated plea or an open plea to me, or you resolve the case by way of a trial, it doesn't matter to me at all. But due to the resources that have been devoted to this case, I have 250 jurors summoned for jury duty starting tomorrow. So I want to be very thorough with you here this afternoon, because if you wake up tomorrow or the next day and you decide you've changed your mind and you want to resolve this case.
Hold on. I just say I love us. Snitching. Snitches get riches. Remember that. Snitches get riches. Snitches get riches.
Both cases by way of a jury trial. That's not going to happen. All right. If you want to have a trial, the trial starts tomorrow. If you want to accept the deal, you can accept the deal today. But there's not going to be any buyer's remorse, in other words, because I've given you plenty of time to think about this, talk to your lawyers about it, talk to your family about it. I talked to you about it last week. Kind of looks like your lawyers probably did something or other to get a better disposition for you as of this afternoon. But this is it today. So understanding all that, you've had enough time to talk to your lawyers about all that. That's what you want to do. So
Death Row, I see you.
Has anyone forced you, threatened you, or coerced you into entering these pleas? If I accept your pleas, there will not be a trial in either one of these cases. Do you understand that? If I accept these pleas, there's a whole bunch of constitutional rights you are giving up. I want to make sure you understand all of those rights. You have the right to maintain your plea of not guilty and have a trial in each case. You have the right to present defenses, to file motions and other pleadings in support of your defense. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have the state prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to confront and cross-examine the witnesses against you. You have the right to appeal any decisions that I may have made up to this point, or any rulings I might make in a future trial. But understanding by entering this negotiated resolution today, you are giving up all of those rights. The matter is going to be resolved today, right now, this afternoon. Is that what you want to do? Are you satisfied with your lawyers? Have you had enough time to speak with them? Have they answered all your questions? Are you satisfied with all the work that they have done for you? Sir, I've got two identical plea forms here entitled Plea of Guilty or No Contest to Criminal Charges in Circuit Court. Each one has your name on the top, your initials on the left-hand side, front and back, and your signature on the back. Did you go over both of these forms? Any questions about what's on either of these forms?
With credit of more than 700 days of time served, Cortland Henry is likely looking at getting out of prison in 8 years.
Mr. Henry, I'm not quite sure how your lawyers managed to do this, but I wish you good luck, sir.
So some well wishes there from Judge Fine to Cortland Henry, but let's talk about this plea agreement with criminal defense attorney Safa Robinson Ferrer. Safa, always great to see you, and thank you so much for joining me. Now, with this proffer that Cortland Henry has to do, the deal is already set in stone. So in my mind, he doesn't necessarily have to cooperate with prosecutors or even testify against YNW Melly. But what are your thoughts? Do you think that he'll end up being very forthcoming with information during this proffer?
Going to be interesting to see what route he takes. And of course, with a proffer, it's an offer of proof, an offer of information or evidence and things of that nature that will ultimately come into play with a prosecution.
He's going to sing. He's going to be a stoolie. He's going to be a rat. He's gonna be a snitch, as he should be. He's gonna slip. He's gonna, hey, I'm getting out early. I had all these life sentences against me. Forget that. Forget that. I'm not even dealing with that at all. I'm snitching. I'm rolling on these niggas. I'm rolling on all these niggas. YNW Melly, YNW peanut butter and jelly, YNW. 8 years he would come out a reformed man. I think he'll do less than 8 years. If he snitches, he's gonna do less than 8 years. You served 13 for what, Rick James? Rick James says he served 13 years. What was it for? Was it white collar or blue collar? I hate that. I don't like that distinction. White collar crime, blue collar crime. It's still crime. Because there's a lot of white collar crime that shouldn't have been crimes in the first place. Okay, so what was it? Fraud? What was it? Can't go. Oh, you can't go into detail. Okay, understood. Protect your neck. No pun intended on that. Yeah. Let me go back to the story.
Assumingly YNW Melly's prosecution in this case. And so, as far as I'm understanding it to be, is that through this proffer agreement, of course, the prosecution wants him to cooperate, but there's no negative sanction for him if he does not. There's not a positive that he will receive if he provides certain information, and there's not a negative that he would receive if he doesn't cooperate or if he doesn't give any additional information. I think considering the possible lifestyle that he lives, and of course we're in a no snitching environment with certain demographics, that he probably will not say much of anything at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if he doesn't say much of anything either. I mean,
No, he'll sing. He'll sing like a birdie on a cage. Like a birdie in a cage, he's gonna sing. I don't know why the cage bird sings. He's gonna talk. They're gonna throw those numbers in front of him again. Like, damn, all right, whoa. He already served 2 years, I think they said.
feel like part of me thinks that maybe he got the approval possibly from his alleged co-conspirator, that maybe it was okay to kind of go through with this. Because if you're staring down a life sentence versus, 10 years in prison, I can understand why 10 years might sound a little bit better. And part of this sweetheart deal in a way, do you think it's a sweetheart deal? I mean, he was facing multiple life sentences, and now with credit of time served, he could just get out in 8 years.
Yep, it's a total sweetheart deal. He was looking at multiple life sentences on the back end and essentially spending the rest of his life in prison. With this plea agreement, he pled no contest, I believe, to 2 counts, and the sentence promises 10 years. We know he's been in custody for approximately 7, so he's really probably only got about a year to a year and a half left to do on his sentence before he's released. He's also going to be on probation or parole supervision for the next 6 years once he is released. So he will have to comply with the terms and conditions of probation or parole once he is placed on that. And so this is a total sweetheart deal. He walks out of here without actually admitting to anything. So yes, he's pleading guilty essentially, but not contesting or factually admitting to any of the facts as the prosecution would lay out, and receiving a sentence that would essentially have him home in about a year to a year and a half.
And so do you think it's kind of a rush to judgment from fans of the kind of YNW collective who are calling Cortland Henry a rat and a snitch already in the Instagram comments, for example, when really he hasn't admitted necessarily to anything? He hasn't signed or written down, hey, this happened at this spot, we did this at this, like he hasn't done that to this point yet. It seems like it really is kind of open-ended as far as how much he's willing to give, if he is willing to give anything to prosecutors. It's
certainly a jump to conclusion, but I understand why people may think that. What often happens is prior to any plea negotiation or during plea negotiations and prior to any plea being entered by a defendant, there are many conversations that are going on, whether it be between the judge, the prosecution, and the defendant, or there's a bunch of conversations with would be myself or the defense attorney, the client, and other witnesses. And I would feel comfortable in saying there's a high likelihood that Melly and Mr. Bortland ultimately probably had a conversation before he entered into this plea to say, hey, you're pleading no contest. There's nothing that you can say that will essentially hurt me. We're bros. We've been in this for quite some time. And that happens a lot. There are conversations between co-defendants, particularly people who are friends and people who have engaged or alleged to have engaged in certain conduct together. That's like, you're not going to snitch on me. I'm not going to snitch on you. At the end of the day, if that were to be the case, there's mutually assured destruction. And so how these plea negotiations often come about is with the attorneys having the conversation with the client and saying, hey, this is what this means. You walk out of here within about a year to a year and a half. There's no requirement for you to actually testify against Mr. Melly. If you want to, of course, that's your choice. If you choose not to, then you're not going to be negatively impacted by that. You're still walking out of here with a 10-year sentence that will ultimately be converted down in 6 years of supervision afterward.
And I wouldn't be surprised that the two possibly may have had a conversation in some way or form, especially given that I saw Melly's mom and even his brother inside the courtroom when that plea hearing was going on. And do you think it's at all possible that prosecutors are working on another deal for Melly too? I mean, his trial was pushed to 2027. He's been behind bars since 2019 with no conviction. But what do you think this deal with Cortland Henry means for YNW Melly?
Well, I certainly think that it's probably in the prosecution's best interest to try to formulate a deal with Mr. Melly. At the end of the day, this isn't a slam dunk case for them. And we saw that in the first trial when it ended up in a mistrial and the jury ultimately couldn't come.
Hold on. This is completely irrelevant, but it's interesting. Rick James says, if he sings, he better be in the witness protection program afterwards. We'll see. YNW Melly finna get out. Shiesty coming home. Man, they about to take over. That's Death Row. Death Row says Drill ain't dead is the... And he didn't finish. And Rick James says he looks like the usual suspect. Skylar Saunders sees, did you ever have dreads? No, and we call them locks. You don't call them dreads. Call them locks.
To a decision. And so considering that and the prosecution knowing that with the proof that they presented then, the proof is not really going to change substantially between that prior trial and his next trial. So they have to take that into consideration. And considering those things, they don't have the easiest case. It's probably more imperative for them to extend some sort of plea deal. Not only that, but, and I'm super interested in this, is now we're getting into speedy trial waters. Melly has been sitting in jail for quite some time, for years at this point on these charges. Within the United States and our constitutional framework, a person has the right to a speedy trial. So at what point does the rubber meet the road and the judge say, hey, if this case isn't brought to trial by this date at this time, then I'm going to entertain a speedy trial motion to dismiss on behalf of the defense, because this has gone on far too long. And it's
I have to disagree with you, Rick James. I don't think she looks like AOC. I don't see it. I'm not seeing the AOC so much. And it's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I say the full name because I don't want to give her like cool points of saying her. She's got a was that not an acronym? Is that an acronym? AOC? On my effed up iPhone screen, she looks like a thicker AOC. Okay. Maybe a thicker one, but not. I'm not seeing too many other features, in her. Yes, acronym. Yeah. You. Thank you. Helping my dumb ass. That's all I was gonna say. Thank you for helping my dumb ass, all y'all. Both of y'all. Did you grad high school? I did, but I dropped out of community college. That's for sure. I wouldn't have been able to become a Marine if I didn't graduate high school. I was a solid C student. I started out with a 2.9 in freshman year, and it just went all the way down from there. It was like 206. Then it was like 204, 2.4. Then it was 2.3, I think, or something like that. It was bad. I had terrible grades. And I don't remember when I got on the SAT. I don't really care. I don't think it is a measure of intelligence, but it's not a measure of character. It's not a matter of morality. It doesn't mean you're a stand-up person. Question is, did you grad high school, death row? Did you graduate from high school? Did you graduate from college?
Exceeded any constitutional framework that would have ensured Mr. Melly receives that fair and quick trial.
Right, exactly. And I know it's still kind of held up because of they're waiting on an appeals decision, all of that. But from 2019 of incarceration to 2027, that is a long period of time. I don't think I've ever seen a case kind of just sit in the kind of, purgatory of the legal system, just kind of waiting. Even though we did have that first trial, I kind of thought the second trial would happen a lot sooner than it has been. And I know a lot of the focus when I'm talking about this story or we're talking about this case is always either YNW Melly or Cortland Henry, but the two are accused of killing their friends and covering it up to look like a drive-by. What do you think this message and this plea deal sends to the families of Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr., especially as they've probably been waiting for some form of justice for so long now at this point?
They're probably not happy about it. But one of the things that families have to understand, and I would always have this conversation as a former prosecutor, is ultimately at the end of the day, I represent the state. The prosecution represents the state of Florida. While they are advocating on behalf of these victims, their duty is to the state and to protect the individuals and citizens of the state of Florida. And so while they can take the family's wishes into consideration, and they will probably strive to do that as best as possible, the prosecution may sometimes have to make decisions that go against what a family of a victim would like in order to at least salvage some of the prosecution and kind of, get some sort of accountability and time out of a defendant.
Yeah, and I just, I'm always thinking about their families, especially because, they lost their two young sons at such a young age. They wanted to be just as great in the world as probably YNW Melly wanted to be. Cortland Henry rising up into the music industry, and then that shooting happened back in 2018. Again, Safa Robinson-Ferrer, I want to thank you so much for your time and your insight into this case. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
It's unclear where Cortland Henry will be serving his prison sentence. As of this recording, online records show he's still in the Broward County Jail. Thanks so much for joining us here on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner.
So there you have it. This young man, his fate is in his own hands. Let's see what he does. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, seeing here. Respect the carnage. I mean, I have respect for Texas Carnage until he disrespected Holly. Let that be known. You're not going to sit here and go after the lady of the house, a female, a woman. Come at me. Engage me with your vitriol. Engage me with that. Don't come at her and with your ugly, disgusting rhetoric. If you're mad just because I called you a name, be mad at me. Don't get mad at Holly or anybody. Rick James can handle his own. He's a 76-year-old man. I'd let you two go back and forth all day yesterday. Pause. But so I'm not worried about it. I'm not, in any way. Yes, go after Sky. Yeah, that's right. Go after me. This is my channel. This is my creation. I have the power to block people. I have power to sit people down. The first person was Texas. He was the first person I have ever sat down, ever blocked, banned, whatever you want to call it. The other person that I did, it was an asterisk. It was a person that said that they were 13 years old, and I'm not about that. Anybody under 18, you're not allowed in my live. You're not allowed on my channel. So I appreciate everybody. I'm about to get out here. I got a live event coming up soon. So I will see you all probably sometime tomorrow. I don't know what time, probably sometime in the morning and maybe morning sky, but we shall see. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.